According to a report from Brandon Thurston of WrestleNomics, WWE is planning 2 pay-per-views for the month of May, bringing back Backlash on Saturday, May 6th. Not this WrestleMania Backlash garbage, just Backlash, the way it used to be. And a King and Queen of the Ring pay-per-view on Saturday, May 27th. They trademarked those names months ago, so it's not a surprise to see King of the Ring back and see them doing a Queen of the Ring, but them doing it Memorial Day weekend, the day before AEW typically runs its Double or Nothing pay-per-view, that's not going to go over very well in Jacksonville. Especially considering how upset Tony Khan was when WWE pulled this on Labor Day weekend last year. Knowing full well that AEW usually runs all out on Labor Day weekend, WWE went and they ran not only a big stadium show in Cardiff, that was Clash at the Castle, but an NXT Worlds Collide show the same day as All Out. That was no coincidence. That was when Tony Khan had a meltdown at the press scrum, and he compared himself to Jim Crockett Promotions, only he said, I have a lot more fucking money than Jim Crockett did, and he said, I'm serious, I'm not going to sit back and take this fucking shit. Those were his exact words. In his little profanity-laced tirade, those were his exact words. He was angry. He had the crazy eyes when he said that. Having all that money, evidently, isn't stopping WWE from muscling in on his turf that weekend. Now, like Clash at the Castle last year, it's not the same day as Double or Nothing. And I should also say AEW has not officially announced Double or Nothing yet for May 28th. But, I mean, we know that's going to be the date. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when they make the announcement. So it's the day before. It's not the same day. And like Clash at the Castle, which aired in the afternoon here, East Coast time, it's very likely going to be the same for King and Queen of the Ring because per Mike Johnson of PW Insider, he had this report the other day. He has confirmed that it will be taking place in Saudi Arabia. You know, I couldn't understand why they were running 2 pay-per-views in the same month and nothing in June. That would explain why, though. The May 27th date is the next Saudi show. In fact, the finals of the last King and well, it wasn't Queen of the Ring, it was Queen's Crown. Remember the Queen's Crown? The finals of the King of the Ring and the Queen's Crown tournaments last time took place in Riyadh. That was 2 years ago at Crown Jewel. Zelina Vega beat Doudrop, and Xavier Woods beat Finn Balor in the finals. So I guess we can cross Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens off the list of possible winners since they don't work the Saudi Arabia shows. I always liked King of the Ring. I thought that it should be brought back as a pay-per-view for the longest time, not just as a television gimmick. Adding a Queen of the Ring tournament was only natural since they do men's and women's Royal Rumble matches and Money in the Bank matches and War Games matches. So you had to expect they would do one for both. That probably means we're only getting the finals on the actual pay-per-view, maybe the semis and the finals. You're not going to be, even if they wanted to run the entire tournament, you're not going to do 2 full tournaments on the same night. So it's only a question of, is it finals only or is it semis and finals? I would like to see stakes on the line. If you're going to bring back King of the Ring, you're going to do Queen of the Ring, there have to be stakes. You know, for years, King of the Ring has been a cartoon gimmick where the winner gets a crown and a robe and that's it. They don't get much else out of it. You know, Xavier Woods became King Woods for a few months until Roman Reigns stole his Burger King crown and destroyed it, and that was the end of that. When King of the Ring used to be in June, as it was for many years, I liked the idea of it being, basically being to SummerSlam what the Royal Rumble is to WrestleMania. And I think they should go back to that. But now it's the end of May. This pay-per-view is at the end of May, and they have a Money in the Bank pay-per-view sandwiched in between King of the Ring and SummerSlam. Money in the Bank this year is at the O2 Arena in London. They just put tickets on sale this week. They sold out in 60 seconds. That's going to be a hot crowd that night. SummerSlam's a stadium show. They're doing it at Ford Field. Either show to me is fine, you know, but the winner gets a shot at the champion in the main event or the champion of their brand if they split the titles by then. But there should definitely be something on the line. And right now, looking at the potential field of candidates, my early pick for King of the Ring is Gunther. I think it's tailor-made for him. And not to walk around with a crown on his head for 6 weeks after. Steve Austin did not walk around with a crown on his head after winning King of the Ring. Brock Lesnar did not walk around with a crown on his head after winning King of the Ring. But he did go to SummerSlam and he did beat The Rock to become the undisputed champion. You know, if Gunther defends the Intercontinental title against Drew McIntyre and Sheamus, let's say, at WrestleMania. And right now it's only Drew McIntyre who has issued the challenge, but I think it'll end up being a triple threat. And if he drops the title, which by the way, in a triple threat, he does not have to technically be pinned to lose his title, but let's say he drops the title at WrestleMania, he could rebound very quickly by winning King of the Ring the very next month, and he could be wrestling Cody or whoever the Universal Champion is. If they split the titles and someone else gets the Universal belt, that could be the main event of Money in the Bank. That could be the main event of SummerSlam. You know, if they split the titles, let's say, here's a scenario for you. If they split the titles after WrestleMania, which I think they should, and Brock Lesnar somehow ends up with the Universal title after WrestleMania, imagine Gunther winning King of the Ring and beating Brock for the belt on one of those two shows. Let's say SummerSlam. People were talking about Brock and Gunther for WrestleMania. Doesn't have to happen at WrestleMania. Boy, you got a big stadium show coming up in August. Brock and Gunther for the championship could be one of the feature matches on that show. But I think that's why Money in the Bank would be a more realistic goal for someone like a Montez Ford or an LA Knight. Those guys are not winning King of the Ring and getting a title match at SummerSlam. If you're going to have real big stakes like that, you're not having Montez Ford win King of the Ring and then go on to a main event championship match at Money in the Bank or SummerSlam. But I do think that is why you need stakes on the line, and you can have a Montez Ford or an LA Knight going for a Money in the Bank briefcase. King of the Ring, I think, definitely you got to up the ante with this thing. Otherwise, what's the point? Now, for Queen of the Ring, we have Shayna Baszler, who calls herself the Queen of Spades. She's not winning Queen of the Ring. Charlotte Flair calls herself the Queen. I guess that trumps every other type of queen that there is. She's the Queen. If Charlotte Flair loses her title to Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania, Charlotte should be in the Queen of the Ring. Oh, I would put her in there. Maybe even go all the way to the finals. Give people a heart attack. Make them assume that she's winning because, she's the Queen. But then she loses. And she puts over the eventual winner, whoever that may be. I would certainly not have her win the damn thing. The hell does she need to win Queen of the Ring for? She's got her Charlotte in the bank. She can cash that in for a title shot anytime she wants one. I could see Raquel winning it. I might go with Piper Niven. She went all the way to the finals in the last one. She was Dewdrop back then, but she went all the way to the finals in the last one they did. She lost to Zelina Vega. I was looking at the women's roster before. And a lot of it also depends on who's the Raw Women's Champion, who's the SmackDown Women's Champion. I presume they wouldn't be in the tournament. Piper Niven, though, I think would be maybe my early choice. I don't know. The women's one is harder to pick than the men's one right now. The Queen's Crown was a disaster 2 years ago. The longest match in the entire tournament was the finals, and that barely went 5 minutes. They just rushed through everything. Every match sucked. They beat Toni Storm in the opening round. That really set the tone for the entire thing. They beat Toni Storm in 2 minutes in the opening round. It was a catastrophe. Triple H needs to do the opposite of what Vince McMahon did with the Queen's Crown. Otherwise, there's no point in even bothering with this.